What's going on, everyone? So today we are going to be doing the review on the XSPC Photon 270 pump reservoir combo. Um, like I said, it's made by XSPC, which right off the bat, XSPC is a very discounted company. Um, I don't want to use the word cheap because I've used their products in the past and nothing feels cheap about them. But let's get into this pump reservoir combo. I wish I had one in my hands, but I don't because I own two of them and they are both actually in use right now, one in the wife's computer and one in mine. So let's get into it little by little. The size of it, it's pretty damn big. You'll see in a small little video clip I'm going to put over me at some point of this video of the pump and reservoir. And you'll see it's a pretty damn big reservoir. Now, if this one's a little bit too big for you, they do make a smaller one. I believe it is the Photon 170 instead of the 270. Now, the reservoir itself looks like any old particular pump reservoir combo. But there is one big difference. It's actually made out of glass instead of plexi or just plastic. It is actually made out of pure glass. Now, for some people, they might like that. Some people, that's not their thing. Obviously, glass can shatter, crack easy, stuff like that. I haven't had an issue with it. I personally like that they're glass. Very easy to clean, less scratches on them, and they're crystal clear. They're beautiful. Now, you won't be able to see these in the video. You might see it in the one clip. There's a small rod that goes down the center. Now, if you're using basically just water or, something very light color, basically very transparent, you'll be able to see this bar. Now, this bar is white, and it goes from the top to the bottom, and it says XSPC on it, and right at the bottom of the reservoir, there's a spot to put an LED. It comes with the LED. It's a standard white LED. You put it in there, and it actually lights up the whole reservoir. So basically, you have a light inside of your reservoir. Really nice option. I can see. I mean, I personally like it, but I can see why a lot of people don't like it. With EK's reservoirs, you have the option to put their little EK logo in it, or you can take it out and leave it a, plain open reservoir. This, you don't have the option to take that centerpiece out. It's there. Now, as far as the weight, like I said, it's made out of glass. The thing is freaking heavy. It is a very heavy pump, so make sure you can use, more than just leaning it against something. Make sure you mount it to something strong, something metal, just because of the weight of it. The pump itself looks like a standard D5 pump. Yes, it is a D5 pump. It is variable as well. Right on the bottom, you have an option for the speed, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I constantly have it on 5. And that brings me to the next thing, which is noise. That thing running on 5, I don't hear it whatsoever. Thing is dead quiet. I love the thing. Honestly, I can't really think of a negative out of it besides a few personal annoyances. The first one is the fill cap. In the top of the reservoir, instead of a standard 1/4-inch threading, my EK reservoir has a 1/4-inch threading, so you can basically put a triple seal, a hardline tube fitting or a compression fitting or barb fitting, any kind of fitting you want in the top of it. If you want to do that, you actually have to purchase separately an M20 to 1/4-inch adapter for it. Now, XSPC sells them, but it's an additional cost. They're usually about 10, 12 bucks. But after you get that, then you can put, your inlet through the top of the reservoir instead of inlet on the bottom, outlet on the bottom. I plan on doing that with my wife's computer once we order that M20 to quarter-inch adapter, and we can get that in. Another another thing that I'm not the biggest fan about, which isn't really their fault, it's more of a personal issue, is the mounting options. You only have one option to mount it. It comes with a heavy metal bracket, which is great. I'm not arguing about that. But you can't mount it on the bottom. You can only mount it on the back. You have your pump and reservoir like this, and you have the bracket right here. So you have to mount it like that. There's nothing to mount it from the bottom of the pump, which I would prefer in a lot of cases, like my P3. I had to figure out a little custom work to get my Photon 270 mounted on my P3 case because there's nowhere to mount a reservoir against the P3 case. Your only option is to mount it on the bottom of the pump. So I had a spare bracket, grinded it a little bit to get the P5 pump actually in the center of it, and I actually riveted it down to the plate so it holds up fine. But for people that don't want to go through that much custom work, these will not work for you just because they only mount on the back. So if you can't mount it directly on a flat surface, this pump reservoir, it will not be for you whatsoever. I wouldn't recommend going the route I did to get it mounted for the bottom. It was a huge headache, huge pain in the butt, not worth it. But everything else about this thing is fantastic. It's quiet. It does its job. And my first one I purchased almost a year ago, maybe about 6 months ago. I haven't had one issue with it whatsoever. It has a 4-pin Molex connector and a fan header with a 1 wire. That's all it is. You plug the header right into where your water pump header would be, or your CPU would be, or any kind of fan header. As far as a 4-pin Molex, you plug in a 4-pin Molex anywhere. Done. The thing looks beautiful. Huge capacity. So if you're buying this pump and reservoir, make sure you have enough liquid because this reservoir is monstrous. Now, you don't obviously have to fill it to the top. I always fill it to the top just because I like it to be full. But this pump reservoir combo has been amazing. It's been a treat to use. Never had an issue with them. And no, this is not endorsed. This is not sponsored by XSPC. I tried to contact them about that, but I don't have enough subscribers. This is me purchasing their products myself and loving their products. Honestly, the only liquid cooling parts that I'm buying at this point is XSPC. I use their hardline tubing. I use their triple seal fittings. I use, tubing, fittings, water blocks, radiators, everything. Pumps, reservoirs. I use all XSPC now. Granted, my personal computer has a thermal take water block from my old 760 Big Water Pro. My wife's computer has an EK water block. That's from her old EK 360, which same with her radiator. But yeah. Now, on a side note, their hardline tubing is for some people, not for other people. It all depends. Their tubing is 14 millimeter outer diameter. So it's not a thick tubing. This is actually a piece right here. Let me see. As you can see, it's not the thickest tubing. It doesn't leak. It bends perfectly fine. But a lot of people that I know prefer 16 millimeter. 16 millimeter Thermaltake makes it. A bunch of other companies make it. It seems to be a huge standard for the metric sizes, 16 millimeter. Main reason why 16 millimeter is a hell of a lot thicker for diameter, which means it looks really, really nice. It really does. I'm not going to argue with that. I love, the look of a full loop with wider tubing rather than thinner tubing. But for the price, you cannot beat it. You really can't. I have no complaints with XSPC in general, and this pump and reservoir combo is fantastic. It has 2 inlets, 1 outlet, If you get the M20 to quarter-inch adapter, you have another inlet right at the top. You have a nice LED bar that goes right up the center of the reservoir to add some extra light if you don't have, you know, pastel liquids, basically. Um, it's glass, so, it always looks nice. Every once in a while, I'll even put my nail to it and start tapping it just because it's glass. I'm an idiot. I know. But if this video was helpful, make sure to give it a like. If you didn't like it, give it a thumbs down. It's not going to hurt my feelings too bad. And subscribe for more content, more just random shit, let's plays, reviews, unboxings, builds, blah, 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 what a blah, blah, blah. That's it. Have a good one.